Okay, hello everyone. So I'll just introduce myself. My name is Shubham. I am an XR developer. I am also an intern at VOXR Motion Studios. It's actually started by Sandeep. He's also one of our XDG community members. And yeah, so I'll just be explaining basic Meta Horizon Worlds creator, the editor and stuff. And maybe we can try to create a mechanic or something inside this editor. So this is what will happen once you open up, once you have the login access. Currently, from what I know, it's not available to the public in India, but you can create another account. Like you can make an account for another country, and then you will have to use a VPN while trying to build it. So that is a challenge. Uh, Luckily, I have Sandeep's account, who has graciously lent it to me. He had gotten access along with a lot of our XDG members who had been to Korea. So they have access natively in India. So I'll just start out by creating a new world. So you'll get uh, to experience, and I'll show you around the editor first. And then we'll get into building a little mechanic or something around this. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me and ask it to me, and I'll try my best to help you.
Yay! Okay, let's go.
Yeah. So this is the editor once it loads up. You'll start out with a base plane, and then you'll start out with a spawn point. So basically, if anyone has used Unity, I'll take Unity as a prime example since it's most one of the most developed game engines out there. So it has a similar structure to Unity. I'll say this is hierarchy on the left hand side. So hierarchy basically shows all the different objects, whether it's game objects, audio objects, all the things inside the scene. It'll show you over here. Uh, so it is very easy for you to keep track of what all things are inside your scene, inside your game world. Then over here at the bottom, first we have asset library. So asset library is basically 3D models, 2D images, anything, any object that you're going to use inside your game or your project. Whether it's 2D, it's 3D, it's sound, is called an asset. So there are two assets. There is public asset, which is created by everyone to all. So you'll see created over here. For example, this birthday cake was made by Harriet, UK, and so on and so forth. There is also my assets. So in my assets, there are these assets are imported from outside, and then there are also Gen AI assets, which I'll explain. So basically, there is a Gen AI feature similar to Lens Studio, where you can create your own different objects and assets over here, which makes it very simple. This is console. So what console does is basically whenever you run scripts, so anything, any error, any issue, even what happening can be displayed onto the screen using the console. So it gives you updates on what is happening in the scene. Then this is NPC debugger. This is primarily for if you're creating NPCs and stuff, and if you want them to have AI speech, for example, if you want them to perform certain actions, that is there. And here this is performance. But that's we'll primarily be using the asset library and console in this tutorial. Now we come to the right side, which is the properties section. Properties is basically all the things that basically the property of the game object is what is displayed over here. So for example, if we take spawn point, there is attributes. Attributes is basically what is it has three things: position, where it is located. There is rotation, which angle, how much is this rotated, and then lastly it is scale. Scale is how big it is, in very simple way. Then there is behavior and tags and stuff. So so I'll explain. So the spawn point over here, unlike Unity where you have to create a character, you have to attach your camera to the character. We have to make sure everything flows smoothly. Meta Horizon Worlds offers you a pre-created character. So whenever you create a Meta Horizon account, you create your own character. So that very own character comes inside your world, and it already has predefined movements. So right now I'm moving with WASD, and I'm using my mouse to turn around and spacebar to jump. This is predefined movement that already comes inside the world. So you don't need to, create the very basics or the very nitty-gritties of the stuff. Uh, there are this is builds and stuff. So for build, there is hierarchy. So over here, you can see there is different objects. So primarily, this is an empty object. Empty objects are very useful when you have to, for example, let's say you want to collect a lot of stuff and put them, accumulate them, or you want to apply some property or something along those lines. Then empty objects are very useful. They can act as a parent or as a child to your game object. Then let's go to shapes now. Shapes are also very self-explanatory, I guess. So there are a lot of base shapes that are available, from spheres to cylinders. Then there is half spheres as well. There is cones as well. Uh, Unity also has shapes, but they have very basic shapes. Over here, you get a lot of complex shapes that are built in. So for example, Unity doesn't offer a cone or something. So those shapes, then you'll have to, make it in Blender or something, and then you have to import it. You can also import, for example, you have created assets in Blender. You can import it quite easily, but you have to make sure that your asset is in the format of FBX. Whether it's a 2D or a 3D object, it has to be in an FBX format, and then you can import them very easy. Okay. Now then there is UI. So Meta Horizon Worlds has different UIs. Firstly, there is custom UI, which you can create. You can assign tags, you can assign structures, blocks, you can create gizmos and stuff. That is there. Then there is text. This text is generally for third person, not entirely, but mainly on the third person level. So let's say if I say uh, Happy New Year, for example, Happy New Year, it comes up over here, Happy New Year. And yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with this, but primarily this text is not very useful. Then comes Noesis UI. I haven't used Noesis UI, but it is quite advanced compared to normal UI. It has a separate editor where you can customize and create your Noesis UI, and then you can easily import it over here. This is navigation. So you can create more spawn points if you want. You can create doors. You can create snap destinations and stuff. A lot of these stuff are there over here. Then there is debug console. There is mirrors, world leaderboards. So a very good factor or a very good feature that Meta Horizon World has. They have inbuilt leaderboards similar to Lens Studios, where it's not very difficult to create a leaderboard, for a global level thing. If, for example, if I go into Unity, if I want to create a leaderboard, it's very difficult for me, to configure a server, and then you have to get hosting, you have to keep track of all players. Meta Horizon Worlds does it for you, a lot of stuff for you. You just have to create a few variables, and then you just have to spawn it into the leaderboard. That's quite easy compared to other stuff. Now we go to interaction. So Raycast. If you guys have used Unity, Raycast is already there, but I'll just explain to you for for people who haven't used Unity or other platforms. Raycast is essentially an invisible ray of light that comes from one point to another, and it can be used to determine or check what that object is, or whether there is an object there, or so on and so forth. So, for example, let's say I have a raycast, which let's say I'm pointing out of my fingertip to, let's say, over here, New Year, Happy New Year. So once that raycast hits and comes back, it will tell me that you have hit a text object, and that text object has this attributes, I can extract that as well as what text is written on this. For example, Happy New Year is written. So it can even extract that. So that is very useful when it comes to a lot of different mechanics. Then there is projectile launcher. So a lot of physics is required, whenever you are making projectiles, you're launching it, whether it's guns, whether it's, you're throwing balls and stuff, which is very difficult to code or to implement and stuff. Meta Horizon has an inbuilt thing. Then we come to trigger zones, which we are going to use in today's demonstration. Trigger zones are also very self-explanatory. Basically, whenever a player or let's say an entity or an object enters into this zone, this zone can be made bigger or smaller. So let's say I make it 100 on the XK, this becomes very long, or then I can make it very tall also. So let's say I can make it 100 over here, so it becomes very tall. So uh, this basically this trigger zone gives a command. So whenever a player, for example, over here we have put in player, or let's say if we keep an object or something like that. Whenever a player or an object touches this or comes inside this, it sends out a signal globally. So you can use this signal to detect for something or someone or an object. So for example, let's say you want to detect an intruder, or if a player has crossed the finish line, for example, in a racing game. So you can keep a trigger zone across the border, and then you can say if the player has entered, he has finished the race. That can be very easily done. Then we have avatars, medias, there is particle effects, there's environment as well, there is lighting and stuff, there's sound, and then there is others. Others has quest, which is very complicated. I'll just over them. That is the basics for now. If anyone has any doubts, any questions till now, please let me know. Otherwise, then I'll move ahead. Yeah, please.
So I just had a doubt about the Neosis. What was the UI? This
Yeah,
the first
Neosys
one.
UI. Yes, yes.
So you said that it opens up a different editor, right?
Yeah, Neosys UI has a different editor which you can make your UI in them, and I think so you can import it inside the world.
So is it like we can make a UI prefabs over there and then we can bring it here, right? Something
Yeah,
along
yeah, something along those lines, I think.
makes sense. And we can make those UI interactable as well.
I am not sure about this. I'll get back to you. But from
Sure.
what I know, you can make those UI and you can bring it into this world. Is what I
Makes
know.
makes sense. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Anyone else has any questions? Okay. I guess then
We can go ahead.
yeah, I'll go ahead then. Okay. So let's try out some basic things over here. Uh, so out of everyone here, how many people know coding in general? I'll say I'll not ask for JavaScript or TypeScript or JavaScript right now. Just coding in general, how many people know any language, any particular language? Even HTML is fine or whatever. Okay, so Meghna is there. Okay, okay, a lot of people know.
I think you should ask those who don't know so they can
Yeah,
thumbs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, those who don't know, okay. How many people don't know? That should be the question. Yes.
Everyone knows coding. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Huh?
That's crazy. Yeah, yeah. So basically,
Priyanshu, me.
okay, okay. No worries, no worries. So basically, over here, there are different languages. So in coding, obviously, so we are going to use TypeScript. Basically, Meta Horizon Worlds uses TypeScript as their coding language. For example, Unity has C sharp or C hash. Unreal uses C++, or they also have different coding blocks and stuff. But that's separate. C++ is their primary coding language. Over here, we have this. what do you say, TypeScript. TypeScript is I'll say something similar to JavaScript, right? I think so. Krunal will be able to explain it better, I guess. What
Yeah.
TypeScript is? I
The version of JavaScript. JavaScript's one of the like its benefit is that it's loosely bounded JavaScript, but the main drawback of that thing is it's very prone to errors during runtime. So since we don't really know what could go wrong, which type of variables we are accepting, which type of variables we are returning, and everything, there are more errors chances in runtime while you are playing the game or playing and the experience, whether it's a AR or game. Whereas in TypeScript, you have to strictly mention each and everything. For example, if you are even inputting a variable, which type of variable are you inputting? What are the function return times and everything? So you have to specifically mention what type of stuff you need during the execution of this script. And it will tell you beforehand itself that, hey, Krunal, you are missing out this one. This variable is not of that type, and so you cannot expect this to run as you want it while the runtime. So like a TypeScript is a strict version of JavaScript, but apart from that, it's as Shubham mentioned, it's very similar to JavaScript.
thank you so much, Krunal. Yeah, so basically, I wanted to do something. If any one of you has the editor installed and has an account, and if you would like to follow along, that would be amazing as well. But if not, just try to understand. And if you have any doubts, it's fine if you interrupt me on the spot. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So we'll start out. So what I was thinking was we could create a trampoline. It's a very simple, very easy, very basic thing. And maybe we'll try to even add sound to it. So whenever you are jumping on a trampoline, there's a boing sound or whatever it is. So let's start out with Gen AI first. So Meta Horizon Worlds has a lot of different Gen AI tools. Firstly, it's the coding assistant. Then there is 3D models. You can make different skyboxes as well. You can make different textures for different models or whatever it is. There is sound effects as well. You can create, for example, this a gentle fire sound at this, or we'll try to create, the boing sound or the jumping sound over here. You can also create ambient sound. Like for example, it's a hustling, bustling city, or you're in an ocean, so the waves are crashing and stuff. That ambient sound can also be created. And there is also entire sceneries that you can create. So that is also very well possible. So we'll start out with a model. So models have different details over here. So for example, if I'm making a very simple thing, an apple or a phone, then try count. So try count is basically triangles. So any 3D model is made up of multiple triangles, whether it's one, it's two, it's thousand, 2,000, million, 10 million. It has n number. But Meta Horizon Worlds is made to be very optimized. So you have to keep your triangle count to a very minimum. Because imagine this runs on either VR or the next two platforms, which is the primary target now, is web and mobile. Web, for optimization, you require a lot of optimization when you're making an app or a game run on web. So in order for that to be achieved, you have to make your triangle count very less. So for example, if I'm making a simple thing, like for example, for us, it's a trampoline. So you can use small detail. If you're making a house or something very complicated thing, then you might want to increase it to a medium or a large. You can also make your assets or 3D model somewhere else and import it using asset library. But uh, it has to be very optimized. And a lot of Gen AI assets are not very optimized directly. You have to pre-topo it, which is an additional step that we can avoid over here. So let's just do a trampoline over here. You can write a very detailed prompt, but I think so for basic objects, like for example, an apple or a phone or a trampoline, it is smart enough to create a decent model for it. If it's a complicated thing or you want a very specific thing, then you can add a detailed prompt over there. So once this happens, it will give you 3 to 4 images. And after that, whichever one looks to your preference, that can be, you can select it for actual 3D model generation. So which is very better compared to, you selecting a very single thing or giving, you're only given one option and you have to follow that. So it reduces a lot of overhead or a lot of lag or loading as such. So let's just wait. Okay, so one is already made.
So there's a question.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How can we beat up that is not can you explain it? Blender and do it. Okay, so uh, if if we talk about external models, then for that Blender is one of the best options. There is also Maya and stuff, but those softwares are paid. Blender is very free, and they have a lot of different plugins also right now that help you to do retopology by themselves. They retopo it very efficiently, but it's not the best. Uh, if you want to get the best, the most efficient way, then obviously manual retopo is still superior, but the plugins help you out a lot.
So what format does this AI generator create the 3D model in? Is it like FBX or GLB?
Yeah, FBX only because
FBX. Okay.
the Meta Horizon worlds only
Yeah.
takes an FBX format. It doesn't take GLB, GLTF, USDZ. It doesn't take any one of them. It only takes in FBX format.
Yeah, but it's
That
nice
is its.
that it actually exports into FBX because I know some of the AI tools which are inbuilt in some of the IDs like this and
Mm.
built in a very native format. Like it could be like a dot horizon asset, something like that, which cannot be opened in any other tools.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned that it generates a FBX model, then of course we can use it in external editors as well.
Yes. But if you are making a model inside this, you don't need to retop it. If you are importing it from outside or an external AI model is creating it, then you have to pay almost to get the try count slow. Otherwise, you can just directly use any of these models. So I think so for us, this one is the best. We don't want a cage around it. We want it to be freely. So I'll just make this available. So I'll just put this model and now it will generate very easily. Till then, I think so we'll have to wait until this is done. And then we'll also generate the sound. Or first we'll try to get the scripts ready. Once the scripts are done, then we'll try out the jumping thing.
So you mentioned we can actually create SFX also here in AI, right? Directly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then you can create a lot of different sounds. So the shortest is 1 second, and you can go up to 10 seconds long. But for SFX, there is a thing called looping. So, for example, let's say you have created an ambient sound. So it's not that you will have a 2 3 hour long sound that you will have, right? You'll have, let's say, a 10-second sound or a 1 minute sound or 2 minute sound, and then you'll have it on repeat or on loop. That you can do quite easily over here. There are a lot of different ways. You can also trigger audio from, uh,
How is the quality and how accurate is the generation out of this? Because if this also exports in like MP3 or MP4 or dot wave format, I guess we can we can just use Meta Horizon as the asset creation tool and just export everything out to other platforms.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. It is MP4 format. I think so. We can very well check it out
Yes.
and be able to judge what is happening. So, okay, so model is already ready.
Sorry, Meta, for exploiting you like this.
Okay, so the model is done. It does look not ideal, I will say. Let's see my assets. Um, so as you can see, it's loading over here. Let's oh, it's, it's not an issue. Otherwise, I have other Gen AI trampoline assets made. That shouldn't be an issue, but I'll rather use this than something else. Okay, so let's import it and check it out. How is it looking? Ooh, yeah, that's not ideal, I'll say.
But I think this is more fun. You just bounce up like a
Yeah,
really.
this is more fun. But you don't need this, I guess. I'll import a normal one that I had Gen AI only. So if you go over here, uh, so this is a normal one. This is also another one that I had Gen AI. This is one of them. This is another one. So we can use either one. So let's just play it out right now. So if I go over here, nothing happens because right now it's just an object. It doesn't have any properties, any physics or anything. So it's just normal that thing. So now let's do another Gen AI over here, but we'll do it for sound for SFX. So I think so. A jumping sound is not very long, right? It's just 1 second or 2 seconds we can have. I'll do 2 seconds, just to give it a little bit of buffer. So let's say a boing sound of a trampoline.
Did you create this trampoline as well inside the Meta tool or
Yeah, inside the meta tool as well.
nice?
So majority of my assets that I have are made inside the Gen AI tool. If you see external items, so I only have two. That is because they are like an image asset. You cannot if I will tell you about this, the one drawback that I have found out is you cannot natively import 2D images inside Meta Horizon worlds. In order to import 2D, you need to sort of convert a 2D image into a 3D FBX file, and then you can import it very easily. That is one drawback, but other than that, there is nothing. So here we can see there are four audios generated. You can check them out.
I don't think so. We can hear the system sounds right now.
Okay, okay. The sound is not shared. 1 second.
I think this is because you are sharing the whole screen, right? And
Oh yeah.
but Google Meet doesn't support sharing the
Mhm.
audio from the screen. But I guess it's good. Can you make the sound with your mouth?
Yeah, I'm not a very great vocalist, I would say. Uh, I'll just let's do it one more for 1 second. I think so. There are two jumps that are made that have been made. I'll just do this. After that, I think so. We'll try once to try to create the script for this using Gen AI. If it's not working, then we'll manually code it as well. But I think so. This is fine. So either you can download it directly. It downloads it as a WAV file, or you can save it in the asset library directly. That also works. I think that this one is the best. Uh, so I think so. If I can share it, I'll share. I'll share the asset files later on. So now you'll see audio asset trampoline making boing sound has been added to my asset. So if I go over here, you'll be able to see this has been added and I can use it. So now let's try scripting with this. I'm not sure how good it will work, but we surely can make use of it. We'll have to go to the assistant. You have to share access for code and act. If you only give it code only, so it will write the script for you, but it will not make the necessary changes. It will not, add colliders into the world. It will not make any physical changes. It will just code and have the snippets ready, the TypeScript code snippet ready. Sure, it will find the script. It will attach it to the object for you. It will do a lot of stuff. It is similar to the Snapchat Gen AI lens, Gen AI tools. That does a lot of work for you. So code and act is best. But if you wanted to not mess with your existing project, then this is best. Also, if whenever you're making complex stuff, there is a very good saving or backup system over here, which we call version control. If you guys use GitHub or something, so they have a very good and very easy stuff. So you can just write any title. So let's say I have made trampolines, and I can just save it. So the backup has been saved. I can just go on to view backups. Then over here you'll see trampoline. Also, every 30 minutes or so, it auto saves for itself. So again, if for example you made a change which is very daunting, it will not it will not not there will no, for example, you made a backup very early on in the project, or you haven't even made a backup. You can still revert back. You have to make few checks whether which one is correct one, but you can revert back to your old project by default because every half an hour or so it makes a manual backup. It's an automatic backup rather than manual backup.
So we have a question by Priyanshi. Is texture manipulation possible inside the editor? Like if you have created a 3D model, can we just edit texture for it or no?
Uh, you see over here, I don't think so. You can select textures over here. If you have texture asset, you can add your textures over here. You can AI generate textures as well. So let's say I create
But
uh,
does it take a input of 3D model? Because I guess this is currently like we can just create a
a normal
yeah,
texture for a ground or a block or something along those lines.
yeah.
That's what it does. It doesn't take the input for a 3D model.
Hmm.
But if you have a separate texture, you can import it and then you can select it over here and you can add a texture asset.
So maybe we can actually take this model, go to Meshy and retexture it over there and bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah, you can also put it on Blender and do some stuff if you are able to do. You can also do that.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. That is also there. So let's try by writing a prompt. So let's say I have two trampolines and this you to make the balance function. So you can jump and jump in step.
Damn, is it that smart that it will automatically recognize also that there are two trampolines in the scene?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. Because it obviously when it gets a lot of it gets complex, it starts to hallucinate and starts to mess up a lot of stuff. But it does a lot of basic stuff it does. So let's say, so it will first tell you, calculate a script where enter the trigger area. I'll place the trigger area over each trampoline. I'll attach the script to each trigger area so they'll jump, which is very standard. Now this is the part where it gets interesting. So it will create a code, but you are not sure if the code will work or not. So let's hope it does. Otherwise, I have written a separate code for it, and we can manually do it as well. So now it will try to attach. Okay. Okay. So if you see over here, it created a trigger and it
Yeah,
attached it to the trampoline itself, and even attached the script over here automatically. It's even smart enough to make a public v4 series created quite easily. Otherwise, a lot of times it doesn't have a proper scripting or proper, and it just has a hard lock force value instead of it being dynamic. So now it even did the same thing for the second trampoline instead of a force command. Now let's see if once it's complete, we'll try it out. If it works, then great. Otherwise, then we'll put it.
I'm still surprised it like automatically recognize the context as well. Like because I can see even the trampoline spellings are also different, right? So even though still it could make out what objects we are talking about.
Yeah.
Damn.
So sometimes it does get stuck. I think.
What if we directly play, like start playing? Will that work? Or we have to wait for the script?
I don't think so. We have to work, so but it'll keep changing stuff. So that
Yeah.
let's just wait for it to finish up everything. The charm.
I really love how AIs are so confident with their answers, though. Even though
Yeah.
when they are hallucinating, I love
Mm.
final validation to be absolutely sure everything is perfect. I'm, I'm sure you are.
Yeah. This should work. Let's see. Let's see. So the triggers are placed quite. It's slightly off, but it's fine. It's still proper. And let's see now if it works as on in. Okay. So this will happen. So what this shows is that set clear physical velocity, but the world has not set up a custom clear manipulation. So this is a known. It's not an error. It's a known limitation because custom manipulation for players is not permitted generally. So you have to allow it. So in order to do that, you have to go into player settings, and over here you'll see custom player movement. Enable code block that affect players. So you have to turn it on. It's not turned on by default. So you have to do it. So I'll do that. I'll have save it. So now if I go over here, it should not cause an issue. It's lagging. Yeah. Okay. So now it's loaded in. Let's see. Okay, great. So this works already. Now let's check the second trampoline. Okay, great. So this works quite well. So we can also manipulate the jump capacity as well. So let's say I do 10 over here and I keep this, let's say I keep it at 30. So one of the trampolines is at 10. So this is at 10. You see it is not jumping quite as high. And if I go over here and I jump very high, So now what we can do is, since we already have assets, I've made a sound, right? For sound, you can just do is you can just drag it in and it will create a sound block for you. So you don't need to create an empty object, attach it sound and stuff. You can just do that. And then you will see properties over here. So for example, global means it is coming from throughout the world. It's not coming from this particular block. So for ambient sounds, you want it to be global. Then this is minimum and maximum distance. So minimum is how close you have to be for you to start hearing the sound, and how far does it cut off. Then this is low pass cutoff frequency. Then there is loop, and then there is play on start. Generally, you don't turn on play on start unless and until it's something required or something of those things. So you can't, I think so, hear the sound. I'll just keep it over here. But this is, you'll see audiograph trampoline making sounds. You can rename it. I am, I just keep it here. Let's see if the script is able, the GenAI is able to do this one. So I've just written a very basic prompt over here. I have added the sound listening, edit the script so that the sound is played whenever I jump on the trampoline. So it will now understand the context, what the sound you have added. I'll update the trampoline launcher to add another property. So when the play jumps on the trampoline, the system will start this sound added. We'll make one side will extract extraction with use. Okay, so now let's see if it is able to trigger the jump sound.
जंप साउंड तो तुझे ही निकालना पड़ेगा बिकॉज वी
हाँ हाँ
कैन
हाँ
नॉट सिस्टम साउंड सो जैसे ही वो उसके ऊपर जाता है यू मेक अ साउंड
हम्म हाँ नहीं सो यू कैन ट्रिगर साउंड्स फ्रॉम स्क्रिप्ट्स राइट तो स्क्रिप्ट्स के ऊपर ही वो ट्रिगर होगा सो आई कैन कीप either keep a duplicate of this over here या फिर कुछ भी मैं कर सकता हूँ or I can keep this global but global say you don't get that 3D sound वाले पे so it's better to have
साउंड नो
duplicate sound better to have a duplicate sound this time. Global generally सिर्फ ambient audio के लिए use होता है okay okay so यहाँ पर दिखाते हैं apologies this sound is working because triggers are not in the right place which are the same field this is not attached to the trampoline because of this to see the step to launch in there this okay so I guess we'll have to manually code it from what it seems. No worries. We'll do a little bit of manual coding, I guess. It's not very difficult. We can, and we will be able to get it done quite easily. So let's go over here. Okay, so I think so. It has made the changes in script. Let's just try attaching it over here. Sounds. Let's see if it was able to do that. Okay, it's not working. I'll just um, I'll remove it. So now let's just start editing this script. So currently I don't have Visual Studio Code as my preferred default app. By default, I think so Visual Studio Code will be your default app if you have it installed. I had removed it for a certain reason. That's why I didn't have it as default. But you can very easily make it default. Okay, so one uh, thing that I have noticed, this is proper bowing sound and property type. Asset shouldn't be the correct term. It should be entity instead of asset. So entity should be the correct term. I don't think so. You need this. This is not okay. So audio gizmo is used to this.
Can we not directly take the bowing sound as the audio gizmo?
We don't need this to be done.
Like
And this not got audio. We don't need to do this as well. And then this got top sound. If we just press, we don't need to remove. We can just remove this. And then we can do this. We'll remove this, I guess. And then we'll just do const audio is equals to this drops down. Boil sound dot as the okay, so it uses audio business audio and then we can use audio resource instead. Okay. What I'll do is I'll simplify this. So generally you have there are different uh, coding blocks or components or scripts inside Ryzen core. So here, if you don't have the by default, if you are using this, you'll have to manually edit it, manually add different sources. But what I prefer to do is I just include all of them. So I'll just say import star as you have to star means it imports everything. I do star as let's say HZ from Meta Horizon. So now every time I have declared this, I have to write HZ dot whatever it is. So let's say over here I have to write HZ dot component. Or over here I have to write HZ dot prototype. It is a big hassle for you to do this, but at the same time it makes your life very easy whenever it comes to importing different modules or different things. Instead of manually searching up everything, you can just get this done very easily. So now I'll just do this HZ audio resource, right? Audio resource.
is audio resource available in the core?
I think so. Let me just check. Audio no. Yeah. It's close to it, which is in the Let's just check. Okay, so it's missing one more closing bracket.
I think after this, if this dot thing is there,
Hmm.
you'll have to close the bracket after the audio dot play.
Hmm. Okay.
Is
So
audio resource the correct syntax or is it something else?
yeah, I think so. It's something else. One second. I'll just check it out. Oops. Hmm. Just check this out. And one second. Just checking this.
By the way, while Shubham is doing this, one thing uh, you should know that this current editor is like everything is running on cloud. There is no local editor which of course it's an application which you can download, but
Hmm.
everything is actually being streamed to your
Yeah.
system. It's not exactly running locally on your system. That's why it's all cloud based, which is a beneficial in a kind of collaboration and stuff.
Hmm.
But sometimes the performance might drop due to your internet connection as well. I think it was audio
Audio
gizmo.
Gizmo, yeah, yeah. Audio Gizmo. Yes. I'll just convert this to Audio Gizmo. And yeah, I think so. This should work. So I'll save this and I'll go back and I'll get down to creator code. And then we'll just go to this. So yeah, okay, that's fine. If we go over here inside the terminals, so you'll see how the boing sound attached kind of thing. So now you can attach your audio source over here. This is attached and even this is attached. Let's see if it works. Yeah, if I'm not sure how can I share my audio with you guys,
It
but
has to.
yeah, it is working, but it's difficult for me to share with you guys. What?
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Yeah,
Play.
one second.
Yeah.
I'll now just make duplicate
Play it.
this. So that right now the audio was coming from one single source, which is sort of
It kind of
not
breaks the immersion.
yeah, it brings the emotion. I just place it roughly. So this one will go into this trampoline streamer, so which is already there. This one, this one. Okay, so this one will use the one
I think the drag thing is not working.
working for.
Hmm. I think it's taking time.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'll just keep it as it is for now. But yeah, it's just basically now.
Boing. Yeah, it
Yeah,
works.
it works. Yeah, so it's just
Boing.
a oh, it's just a very basic mechanic that you can introduce, but you can make a lot of similar stuff using Gen AI And sometimes, as you saw the GenAI breaks, then you have to manually code it. When it comes to, especially when it comes to complex mechanics, digital one doesn't work. The GenAI doesn't work quite well. You can even create different environments. So, the here right now, they are only set environments that you can generate. But then there is over here, I think so, there is environment generation gizmo. If I go into environment, and then there is an environment generation gizmo. So you can use this. So now you can prompt whatever you want to do. So there is only one generator. There's also seeds that you can do. The seed will help you randomize, or it can help you be static. You can also define the size, how big of an environment you want it. So this is only X and Y direction. For right now, it's 2D. So it's not X, Y, and Z, it's only X and Z. There is also terrain quality with a terrain shape. It's round, you want a crescent, you want a ring, whether you want it high, medium, low quality. There are also themes. If you want a particular theme, you want how many number of buildings you want. You want water plane or not. So based on that, and you can also give out very detailed prompt. So you can create anything basically. You can also use this to help you figure out you want an Arctic fishing village or psychedelic in the desert, whatever it
We
is.
can go with something like Arctic only because snow.
Yeah, so I think so we'll go with Arctic, and then I'll click Gen.
I think I saw a LinkedIn post where the Reality Labs researcher are working on creating towns, basically medieval town, medieval village, futuristic town. So I think it's an extension to this island world builder because
Mm.
right now it's only island generation. But I guess that is also coming to this sector where you can actually create towns and stuff where you can roam around. So that would
Mm.
be pretty crazy.
Yeah, just imagining what we can create with this. So it's very limited for now, but I think so it will
But I
grow.
did use this in Korea as well, and it was mind blowing, man. Because it's not only creating one model; it's creating a whole thing where you can actually individually move each of the assets which is created using this world generator. So that was a very big point because we could actually customize the final output, how I want my assets to look like, where this tree should be, where this house should be. So that was something crazy. Imagine this scaling up to XR creation, Project Orion and everything. It would be like, oof, next level. Naveen, I just wanted, by the time it is being generated, I wanted to ask you, how was your experience building with this and the type of game which you built, right? It was not a typical world or a thing. So how different it was for you?
Sure. I think the fact that the tool is still in beta and not open to public, so there were like bugs around all the time. So my experience was like I had to be like super patient with everything that I was doing, and I could not definitely rely on scripting all the time, like from the GenAI tools, because if I ask it to code and generate, it will hallucinate, as Shubham said, most of the times. And once you're like made progress into the project, then then it will just like mess everything up. So good way to work around it was like make a new project, and like if you want to do something, that's like, hey, how do I make my player jump? And then it will generate a script, and then you can go through it and it's like, what did I actually did? And then I would like go to the documentation, and I'll see like, oh, nice. I
Yeah.
think this time I now know like every function that is there in this tool. I think by like every day I will like learn two or three functions, and then it's super simple, like super simple to do stuff because all the help is there, and there's like Discord community was there. So for me, this was good. I think eventually it felt like a KR. I think how many of you like there, because by the end of like 15 or 20 days I started learning Spark here, like I could knew everything that was there in Spark. So now I think my experience was very much similar to that, except with more bugs than how many scripts I had. But as you said, like it's slightly limitless. For example, this environment it generated right now. Like
Look
imagine
up.
visualize it being super nice, better texture, and then also customizable at every point. So I think pretty good. That's I think every tool is kind of like reaching towards this stage. Even if you look at it, all the other tools also like kind of getting into. I also heard Roblox also they enabled creators to generate 4D worlds,
Yeah.
which is best so far. Um, yeah, my experience was good. I think to answer your question. Like,
Thank you so much for sharing.
Naveen, I do have a question. I'm not sure if it's proper or not, but I think so you used Noesis for your UI, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, could you tell me your experience? Because I want to know what it is, whether it's something worth learning or is it, how good is it, or what's the
Um,
outlook?
yeah, sure. Do you want me to like share my screen? I could like give you a little bit very quick overview, like in a minute. Is that okay? You can.
I think yes.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, I'll stop the screen. I think so. I hope everyone has seen the 3D world that was
Yes.
generated.
It's crazy. I already have ideas like we can make a
Yeah.
simulator in that where everyone
Mm.
can in and do skiing.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you able to look at this screen?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
you can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is like the Noesis studio that I think Shubham was mentioning. So this is what how I was just following Shubham's tutorial, and this is what I have made two trampolines. One in like in 2026.
It's a
So
loop. Tap, 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 tap.
you are in 2025, and then you jump and you like you go to 2026.
26.
But anyways, coming back to this Noesis, so you see this is more like a 2D layout. Every texture is 2D in here. And if I play it, what I've done is it's kind of like loads each button and I have full freedom to animate them. I could have textures that I want, and then I can, for each button, I could have little functions that will run if I click on it, or if I click on score, and then I can create each pages for each kind of things. For example, if I click on quest, I could go to the quest page, and if I click on shop, I could go to shop page. And each of these functions are like kind of each of these textures, they have some data parameters. That means you can then go to TypeScript and kind of like read the parameters, like, oh, this button was clicked, what do I have to do then? So you could always write callback functions. Now, is it really useful to learn Noesis? So Noesis has been existed like quite some time. It was used by game developer community so much. I did not know about this. I first time heard about Noesis when I went to uh, Korea because of these Meta Horizon desktop editor. Otherwise, I had no idea. But I think it's definitely has a learning curve. Initially, it feels very overwhelming, but I think once you get a hang of it, it's very useful. It's almost like creating, something in Photoshop, but then you also can animate things because now like you have these editors and it has all the options like button, text, content. It's almost like think of it as like a CSS HTML, but the language is actually XAML. But most of the styling is what CSS does, like the CSS style. I would say that if you are into game development, whatever you create in Oasis, I think it is useful in many places like Unity, and then now Meta has bought it. So Meta, obviously, any product that you're gonna work on it. So definitely useful. You could create pretty crazy stuff. Like you could make entire game just based on Oasis UI. And why is it useful? I think the competitor of Noesis UI, like not competitor, but the replacement was custom UI, which used to be there. And custom UI is like everything you have to write in script. And then when you write in the script, it is so difficult to test because, oh, what it's styling that you made, then you have to run your game and then like, okay, and then come back and like, oh, it's working and not working. But in Noesis, you could first make it, test it here how you want it, and then just like import it as a Noesis project. And that could be just like added here, like, hey, I want to import this project and then write a script around it. So definitely useful. I think you could do much complex stuff that you want with it. Um, for example, I would like to just say it's like there are a couple of things like my quest I want to update. Like for example, initially if the player is playing, collect 20 flies, hop 100 times is my quests. But once player has done it, what can I update these? So I don't want to update the texture all the time, right? I could just update these text over there. So that's what the freedom that you get out of it. I think, Krunal, yes, please.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, once we import the Nurses project over there, and if I
Mhm.
make any changes over here, right? Is it reflected over there, or will I need to re-import the asset over there?
As of now, you would have to, like like any asset in desktop editor, you
Yeah.
have to like right click on it and just like replace it.
Oh,
But I think I was looking at some comments in the community. There was like there will be future plans to just like could make changes and they could just like
yeah, because that would bring it to next level.
yeah. But it's like you have to replace it manually. But then once you replace it, I think it will be just like replaced in all the instances that it has. So that's nice. Like, but yeah, that's noises. I can stop sharing. Yeah.
Back to you, Shubham. Thank you so much, Naveen, for sharing that. It was really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess I should the same thing.
I think we need to bring the trampoline up in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah. We need to move that up.
Because I could see that.
I just
And if you can share the tab of the whole screen, I think we
yeah,
can
yeah.
see the
That
whole
is
picture.
definitely yeah. I
Yeah. Thank you.
so I'll just move this now. So, so I
But make this as a child of
chat.
trampoline. Hmm.
So what you can do is, let's say you make a touch channel. Your was is once that happens, comes relative, the position change absolute to relative. So now I can just change the position from 0, 0, 0, and then it's just okay. I can do the same thing for just remove it. I can side and then I can do this and just move in that back. Also movies point over there. Just and I guess should works. And yeah, I can say the generation is good. You know, when I thought it would be very basic kind of thing, or it will be very something on the science. But it's actually dynamic and quite nice compared to other platforms.
And I guess it has added that as well.
There's a lot of stuff. So it added water plane, it added different parts, it even added the trees and stuff. It also made it quite realistic, you know. because if you're in Arctic, there will obviously there'll be no leaves on the trees. It'll just be bare trees. So it made sure that it's realistic as possible, rather than just being there just for the reason. Even I think so the houses are not decorated, but I think so if we put in a proper detailed prompt for the environment, it will also decorate and like furnish the house.
Nice. Like we can actually make this like a Christmas themed as well.
Mm. This is also very great, you can view. There is slight water, I guess. It's not deep water, I guess it is slight water. But then what you can do is there is a water plane over here. Water underwater you have water plane. So you can make it collidable or you can add a trigger over here. Which let's say for example you don't want anyone swimming in water for whatever reason. Then you can say if someone touches the water, then they die. Whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
so
you can use
and
triggers
respawn
to that.
one point.
Yeah, you can also put in respawn and stuff. That is also very possible. You can also import in animations for characters, but that is also a tricky process. So basically, if anyone has used Mixamo, so basically there are Meta Horizon creator models over there. You have to import your models over there in Mixamo. Then you have to export out the animations that you want, whether it's running, it's jumping, it's sleeping, it's getting knocked out or whatever the animations you want. You have to export them into Blender. You can make any changes if you want. If not, you can just directly take it and then you have to directly import it. So even animations are it is possible to import clear animations as well inside inside the game, inside that. So if you see games, there are some games that have custom dying animations or custom knocking out animation. They even have emotes and stuff. There are also games with emotes. So you can create custom emotes as well for a character. Whether it's someone is dancing or whatever it is. There are also a certain button over that for emotes and stuff. But yeah, that's the basic gist of the editor. If anyone has any doubts, I'll be happy to go over them.
Yeah, this was actually very insightful session, and I love how they are actually building up this tool, even though it's like a very early stage for this Meta Horizon world. But I can see if they have made it so easy to adopt, like using the Gen AI tools and everything. Um, if they keep up with this and not shut it down like Meta Spa, I think this can actually become one of the very good 3D IDEs out there. Snap should take some notes. And I think we are good to go and wrap up this session. I hope it was very insightful for everyone who joined in. And thank you for joining us. It's a Sunday evening. I wasn't expecting this much audience, so thanks for taking out time and giving us your time. Also, Shubham, once again, thank you so much for taking this session on such short notice. It was really fun following along
It's
and
my pleasure.
how this tool comes up. Yeah, Shubham, you can say. Any closing notes, Shubham?
I had a lot of fun, teaching and experimenting and stuff with this. Yeah, and I also didn't expect so many people to come up. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much once again, and have a great rest of your day. If it's evening for you, then have a great evening. If it's morning for you, have a great day ahead. Thank you for joining us from around the world and have fun. I guess I have recorded this, but I'm not sure uh, what because I did check from the iPad. It is not recording the audio, and I have put it on OBS as well, so I'm guessing the OBS audio should work. But thanks once again, Shubham, for having this taking this session. And अगर ये session नहीं record होता है, then you people are very lucky to have this experience. So yeah, thank you again for taking this time, and have a great year, rest of the year, and happy New Year in advance. Happy New Year.
Yeah, everyone.
Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Bye bye. Aujo.
Okay.
Good night.